So, as you've probably seen in past videos, I'm on a never-ending quest to come up with the best all-in-one plug-and-play YouTube setup, including camera, sound, lighting, basically everything you need just to sit down and press record. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to do an all-in-one YouTube stand build with the camera, with the light, with the sound, everything you need to get started for under $1,000, and even say under $500 for the more budget conscious that just want to shoot on their phone. Hey guys, Mike here from Envy Creative. So on YouTube lately, a lot of creators have been coming up with these all-in-one stands that have their monitor, that have their camera and light and microphone all set up, so all they have to do is just that, sit down and start recording. Now in a past video, I did a build for a YouTube plug-and-play setup desk, just in case you have some products that you want to set on the desk or a laptop or anything else, but we figured out that we weren't really using that to its full potential because we rarely actually had things on the desk to use. So when we saw a lot of people doing the all-in-one stand, we were kind of intrigued. But one of the big things that we saw from all these other videos is that a lot of money goes into it. So with all that said, let's jump right into what it took to build our all-in-one YouTube stand and how it's working out. So let's kick things off with the actual stand. Now what we're using is a newer light stand, and basically it's an adjustable rolling stand that rolls around really easily, but the best thing is the price point, and it's very affordable compared to others by Matthews or Norms. So now let's get to all the rigging and all the attachments. So we just had a big bin full of grip equipment around the studio, so I kind of used everything that we already had to be able to mount everything to the actual light stand, but after some trial and error, I actually only ended up using about one super clamp, a couple smaller clamps, as well as a couple of adjustable arms. In the description, I'll put everything exactly that we use, just in case you want to duplicate the setup, just so that you don't go overboard and buy a lot more than what you actually need. We ended up just doing some light cable management, and we put a power strip into the bottom of the light stand so that we could plug it into the floor so it could charge everything on the stand, so that when we're ready to go, we can unplug it and roll it anywhere and start recording. Now let's get into the light. We're actually using an older aperture LED panel. It's pretty old, it's made of just plastic, and you can probably find something even brighter and even better quality nowadays for cheaper than what we bought it for, but we had it, so we were just using it, and we also threw on kind of a cheaper softbox on there as well. So now let's move on to the monitor. So if you see I'm not looking at the camera, I'm actually looking at the monitor. We have it off camera slightly on the bottom, but this was a monitor that was just sitting around the studio. We really weren't using it. I think it's only a 720p monitor, so we weren't using it for any of our cameras, but it still works really well just to see a little bit of a bigger image off camera. But if your flip out screen on your camera is perfectly fine, then you can just forego the monitor altogether, and that will save you a little bit of money too. But if you do need a monitor, we did pick up this one for $100 on B&H. They had a lightning deal going on, but you can find them for around $100 or cheaper sometimes too. So now let's move on to the microphone. Right now we're using our Sennheiser MKE440, which is just a on-camera microphone that plugs directly into the camera. It sounds pretty good. It's just mounted right on top of the camera. We don't need any boom arms or anything else. But Sennheiser actually just came out with two new microphones. I think they're $200 and $100 depending on which one you want to get, but those are also camera mountable microphones as well, and those are a little bit newer than the one that we're using. Right now I'm only about 2 feet away from the camera, so if you do have decent audio straight from the camera, then you might just be able to use it straight out of camera. So for instance, right now I just took out the cable from our microphone on top of the camera, and you're just listening to the built-in microphone on the camera itself. Again, I'm only a couple feet away, so it still does sound pretty solid and definitely usable. Okay, so now let's get to the actual camera. Now, like I said before, a lot of creators on YouTube, they've been doing these builds, but they've always said that all this costs so much, but it doesn't include the camera.
Now, I didn't cheap out and get a bunch of really garbagey stuff.
The camera on top of this is the Sony a7S III. I bet you there's a lot of you watching this video right now that would want that camera.
So again, what we wanted to do is we wanted to make it pretty affordable for a lot of people just to get everything that they need to just jump in and start recording. So the camera we're actually using right now is the Sony ZV-1. And if you've seen some of our past videos, you know that we really like this camera ever since we got it. It really continues to amaze us on the quality that it gets, as well as all of its features and just how easy it is to use. But the camera itself, at the time of this recording, does cost more than $500. So if you want to replicate this setup, that's where the majority of the cost will come from, in just one lump sum. But one of the good things about the camera is not only does it have a flip out LCD screen, but it also has a 3.5mm jack for your microphone. It has a USB port so that you can actually be charging and keeping the camera powered while you're recording. And it has a micro HDMI port so that you can run it to an external monitor. And one of the best parts we like about it is the autofocus, which it does even have face tracking and eye tracking, so it gets really good focus on your face. But it also has a convenient feature called defocus background, which, in case you don't want to mess with all the settings like we did on our camera, you just press one button and it automatically blurs out the background, giving you that nice cinematic feel. Now with the setup we have right now, we just have the normal lens, but we actually do have a wide angle lens for the camera, so that in case you want to get a wider field of view, all you have to do is stick this on and you get a wider field of view. So this is the camera without the wide angle lens, and then this is the camera with the wide angle lens. As you can see, it's a lot wider and you get a lot more in frame. So I'll just take this off. And as you can see, it's just a little attachment that goes on the front of the lens. Gives you an automatic wide angle view. But like I said at the beginning, we wanted to go one step further and make this affordable for everybody, or at least most people, even with somewhat of a budget that want to get started. So we're going to show you what this setup looks like. Instead of with a Sony ZV-1, we're going to be using an iPhone 11, as well as a Shure microphone that plugs directly into the Lightning port on the iPhone. Okay, so now I'm just using my iPhone 11 on a pretty cheap iPhone stand connected to the extension arm, and I actually picked up this really cool Shure microphone for the iPhone. It costs a little bit over $100, but you can hear what great audio you get about 2 feet away from the microphone, and it plugs right into the Lightning port, no adapters needed or anything else like that. So now, just as a comparison, you can hear what the built-in audio on the iPhone sounds like, rather than if you were to get the external microphone for the iPhone. As you can see, the iPhone does a great job with the Shure microphone, and it's a really nice setup just in case you don't want to spend the money or you don't have the budget on a dedicated camera for your setup. Before we keep going, I just want to say that we work really hard on putting all these videos together for you guys. We try to make them fun, educational, but so that we can also get you the most information in the shortest amount of time, or the most detailed information, maybe more than what other people give you on their videos. So all we ask is you just like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on future ones, and also leave a comment in the below if you have questions or comments about anything that we use in the video, or any questions about anything in the video itself. It really helps us out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, so that YouTube can push our content to more people, so that we can teach them more about the video gear that we're using and everything else that we're doing in our videos. So after the stand was built, I can say I actually really like it. It can move around really easily, everything is just set up and ready to go, and it's pretty easy just to get up and running. As you've probably been able to tell, I've been shooting with this setup the whole time on this video today, and I think it turned out pretty good. Thanks so much guys for watching, and if you have any questions about any of the gear with the YouTube stand or anything else, questions, comments, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one.